Hello, everybody. We'll wait for some couple of minutes for everybody to join in and then we'll start. Okay, I think we're good to go now. So, good evening, everybody. Today we've lost another gem of Bollywood, of Indian film industry, Mr. Sushant Singh Rajput. It was a very, very saddening and sudden news for all of us. He has been a great actor, and thus, I, on behalf of the entire Chha Foundation, would like to extend a heartfelt condolence to the entire friends and family of Sushant Singh Rajput. We would also like to pray to the Almighty God for the departed soul and for the entire family to give them the strength to bear with this irreparable loss. And to all the people who are listening to me right now, I would like to suggest you, I would like to request you, and I would like to appeal you to please prioritize your mental health. It is extremely and excessively important for all of you to prioritize your mental health. Your mental health has to be your first priority and has to be in place, sound, and good. So please talk if you have any problem. If you have any problem in life, talk, and that would be the only solution to every problem that you're going through right now. If you want our assistance, you can always contact us on our helpline number. We will provide you with the maximum assistance that can happen from our side. We have some very great counselors and psychologists. So please call us if you need our assistance, and we will make sure that all your information is absolutely confidential and it remains between you and the counselor that you are taking counseling with. So please do not keep your problems to yourself. Talk, and only then it would be a happier life. And with that, keeping in mind that the show must go on, we will resume our live session. Today we'll be having a very, very special guest with us, Miss Ash Ture. So ma'am, if you can hear me, can you just send me a request? So we'll wait for our guests to join in. Until then, I would like to tell you that the fundraising campaign link is live in our bio. You can go ahead, you can contribute, you can spread the word. And I would also like to thank everybody out there who have been supporting us. We have achieved a major milestone in this entire fundraising concept. So thank you very much. Also, the Zoom fundraiser that we had on 7th of June was a great, great success. We have managed to raise the amount close to 19.5 lakh, and there were 1,000 people, even more than 1,000 people. So thank you for your abundant support, your constant love and support. Uh, I think there is some connection error. Ma'am, can you hear me? So we'll wait for some more minutes until ma'am joins in, and then we'll start. We'll begin with our show. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, hi.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Firstly, thank you for such an important message. As you said, unfortunately, we've lost another soul to suicide. So, our mental health is so important. And, I know you want to introduce me, but I couldn't help but just say, thank you for that because it's so, so important.
Yes, definitely. And I think mental health right now in today's scenario is definitely a major, major thing that people needs to talk about, because yeah, it is very essential.
Absolutely,
So
agree.
yeah, so ma'am, I'll take a moment to introduce you to our viewers and then we'll start. So today we have on board with us Miss Ash Ture. Ma'am is the founder of Ture's Hope, a non-for-profit organization supporting the vulnerable members of the society in India. She's a senior youth practitioner, inspirational speaker, life coach, and campaigner for equality and diversity. Ma'am believes that no matter what disabilities, caring, or body type, we all are beautiful. Ma'am is a Sikh British female who loves India, meditation, fashion, and helping people reaching their goals. Her mission is to get people to pay it forward. If we have a skill, then share it through volunteering and giving something back to the others. Then this world would be a better place to live in. And ma'am, we welcome you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you
It
for
was
having me.
pleasure hosting you. Yeah. So, ma'am, while I was doing my entire research work and I was going through your entire profile, I was quite amazed to see the journey that you have been through. I mean, from a normal, ordinary girl to this inspirational coach that you are today, despite of the fact that you yourself has been through anxiety and depression. So, how was this entire journey from a normal human being to this great woman that you are today, representing so many people?
I think I'm still a normal human being, but thank you so much. For me, I think growing up, it was difficult in terms of I have a rare skin condition called CMN, congenital pigmented nevi. So in plain terms, you know, you have beauty spots. I was born with them all over. So I had a lot of surgery growing up. So with that experience and experiencing bullying, feeling alone at times, I think throughout my journey, I always wanted to do something that would help others and, you know, so people don't feel alone. So I think that's where it started, and also being a Punjabi Sikh female, Sadda, you know, we always give langar, and, you know, the art of giving and seva has always been a big part of my life. My parents have always taught that to us because it's come from our grandparents. My mum is originally from Mumbai and my dad is originally from Delhi. So I've always had a connect with India as well. So I think that's how kind of things piece together. I love India. I have a very big soft spot for India. And when I started my work journey as a senior youth practitioner, working with the vulnerable, working with young offenders, again, I was trained, I am trained in like mental health, in domestic violence, substance misuse. So from trips to India, going shopping and weddings, as I grew older and matured, I just had to do something to kind of make a difference. Hence my voluntary journey. The journey started 3 years ago. To Raise Hope has been going for a year. But my voluntary journey was supposed to be 1 year, but it turned into a non-profit organisation.
Yeah, so talking basically about the Two Days Hope, that is a non-profit organization of yours, I read that you are focusing on the vulnerable section of the society in India. So I was quite curious to ask you why only in India, and also if you can elucidate more upon the entire concept of Two Days Hope.
Of course, yes. So to Raise Hope, as I said, I did 1 year. My dream was always to give something back. So 1 year I went to India for a wedding. My friend had mentioned an organisation called Granti in Mumbai. They empower young women from the red light district. And I didn't really think much of it, but as I lead on child sexual exploitation in London, seeing the street children, it had a really big effect on me. This was in 2017. So when I came back, I did a little bit of research, and it so happened that the founders were actually in London. And then I found out the founders were actually staying 5 minutes from where I worked in London. And I thought, oh my God, this is definitely a sign. So I went to meet some of the girls. I did a session there on obviously what the laws and ways are in London. And I just fell in love with the girls, and I just knew I had to kind of put my dream into reality and make sure that I went to India. The founders, they were most impressed and said they'd love to have me. And I was just like, yes, I'm ready. So this happened in the July, and in the November, I was in India volunteering with them. Then I did that for another year because I was like, oh, I want to go back again this year. And then more and more people kind of were interested in I delivered training as well as workshops, so one-to-one coaching, trauma-based sessions with the young children, and also looking at organisations and consultation exercises and how the NGOs could better themselves. And then I got a lot of interest saying, why don't you start up something? This is amazing. And I was just like, okay. So I came back the second year and I was brainstorming, literally just thinking, okay, let me put this into practice. And believe it or not, To Raise Hope, obviously my surname is Toure. I don't know if you've made the connection. So two Ray with the number two. And I've been thinking, what shall I call this organization? Like, I have to have a name now. And then just casually, I was sitting with my dad, mom, having a cup of tea. And my dad said, like, literally in seconds, how about Two Rays Hope? And I was just like, oh my God, Two Rays Hope. I was like, Dad, you're a genius. So that's where Two Rays Hope comes from. And, you know, it is to raise hope, to show people that there is hope. The two represent my parents and obviously my surname. And in terms of the journey going forward is to give hope. And you asked about why I focused on India. Well, funny enough, I did start my journey focusing on India, but now it's kind of, I've started work here in terms of body image, you know, disability, and how everybody needs to embrace themselves as they are. So to answer your question, my work has started in the UK as well now. And again, that was just, you know, I discovered an organisation that helped me to, you know, accept myself and, you know, push the limits for me. And I do a lot of meditation and kind of self-acceptance work myself. So I was like, if I can share that, why not? So we're growing.
Yeah, and even I got confused when I read your surname and the Two Rays website. I was very curious to know about it, the entire story. Also, ma'am, what is the relevance of the entire peacock feather that you have on your website?
Oh, okay. So peacock, you can see my tattoo there.
Yes, I can.
So again, when I started my meditation journey, we did an exercise to think and look at awakening our angels inside us. And peacocks, I've always loved peacocks, but I never knew why. When I did that meditation, my angel came to me in the form of a peacock. And there's not a day that goes past, basically, where I don't see a peacock. And I always wanted a tattoo, and I wasn't sure what to get, so I got the peacock. And also, whenever I am feeling a certain way or I'm not sure about my journey, one way or another, a peacock just appears and I just know it's the right thing to do. So, you know, one story that I always tell because it's so relevant for me, when I was deciding about my organization, shall I do it? Shall I not? Is it going to be, you know, is it going to work? You know, many people said, oh, you're one person. What difference are you going to make? I was waiting for a friend, we were going out to dinner, and out of nowhere, honestly, I kid you not, this is on my Instagram page and it's on my Facebook page, a white peacock appeared out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so weird. And my friend was on the phone to me at the time, so he managed to take a picture of the peacock. So peacocks just appeared. They are my guiding angel. They are, you know, a part of my journey. So I try and add it wherever I can to, yeah, just put me on the right path.
And that's very amazing. I mean, the entire idea, the entire concept. I really like the entire concept of your website, the peacock feather all around. So I wanted to ask you, what is it about? Also, while I was going through your profile, I read a statement. I would quote and unquote the statement, which says,
Okay.
we believe that the gift of giving, no matter how big or small, can leave a print of hope for a lifetime. And when I read this statement, I went into the flashback of my school. Like, in our school time, we are basically taught about this little act of kindness, little act of giving. But what happens when we grow eventually, we somehow, this entire concept has settled down in our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
People right now are so much engrossed into their own life, into their own career and everything that they are doing, that they've just forgotten about it. So what do you have to say about this little act of kindness?
Right. Especially in the current climate we're in at the moment. Also, I just want to mention the website was another volunteer. A volunteer helped me to put my vision into place, even my logo. Kindly, my godson, who is inquisitive and artist, done that as well. So the whole concept and everybody came together to volunteer to do that and put that together. So thank you. So in terms of the life we're living now, it's very easy. You know, when we're in school, like you said, we have that time, we have that passion, we can still go out and do things. But somehow when we start earning, our wants get bigger. And with those wants comes work. So we put work and our wants together. But what we actually forget is, as you mentioned before, our mental health. You know, what are we doing to make a difference? You know, okay, we can, you know, today is a prime example, you know, a Bollywood actor, you know, fame, good looks, you know, popularity, but there was something missing. And maybe, you know, I'm not saying there was, I don't know the case, but maybe if there was somebody that reached out, or maybe if we were a part of some organization to help somebody, we can make that change. So I think it comes to a stage where we need to think about actually what is it that I can do for somebody else. And I think in the world that we're living in, we focus so much on materialistic things, we forget the root of what really matters.
Yeah, also, ma'am, since you just mentioned about mental health, I would like to tell my viewers about it. Since we have launched a helpline number, we are always there to help you. Everybody who is watching this, you can always contact us. We have some very great counselors and psychologists. We'll provide you with the maximum assistance from our side, and please feel free. All your entire data, entire talking would be absolutely confidential. So please go ahead, call us if you are in need, because your mental health has to be your priority. And
Absolutely.
ma'am, with that, you visited us last year.
I did,
So
yeah.
how was that entire experience? I think it was very, very great. I am assuming that it was very, very great, and I am sure that you'll be visiting us once again once the pandemic conditions is over. So what was your takeaway when you visited us last year in
Um,
January, I guess?
It
Yes.
was, yes. It was amazing. So what actually happened in my second voluntary journey, I had heard about Shiro's because I visited Lucknow, and I worked with an NGO there. But unfortunately, time constraints, I was running from one place to another, and I was gutted that I didn't know enough about Shiro's to go and visit. So I learned a little bit more, and got in contact with Ajit, who's amazing. You know, we kind of had some conversations around there. And so I visited Shiro's home in Delhi, Noida, and I was just taken aback. Again, you know, there's some organizations I go to and I just, you know, love at first sight. It just happens. I was most impressed with, you know, the power of everybody that was there. You know, Ritu Ahmed was amazing. You know, we had a good chat. Alok was amazing also. And what got to me the most was the need and the power to actually make a change. So when I was there, I delivered some training and also some consultation with Alok. So again, we did plan some work this year, but unfortunately that's going to have to be on hold. But I'm really looking forward to future projects because again, I think the passion and the want to make a change and the genuine vibe and aura that you get, you just can't help but want to help. And that's why obviously this kind of donation drive is amazing. And I think, you know, more and more people need to get involved and just really understand what difference, no matter what they can give in forms of whether it's monetary, whether it's a clothes donation, whether it's a stationary donation, it really can make that difference. And again, the paying it forward, I go back to that. Because if we're going to make a difference, we need to do it collectively. And that doesn't always mean giving money. It could mean, you know, giving that education. It could mean giving that skill. You know, come and volunteer. Go to the home, volunteer, do something because everybody has a skill that we can offer. But yeah, to answer your question in one word, it was just amazing. And again, I fell in love.
Yeah, I would second you with that, and all of them are really, really amazing. I myself is a volunteer here, and they are like I mean, the entire Shiro's family is. I never felt I just joined them 1 month ago, and it feels like a family. I've never felt like I joined recently or something like that. Also, ma'am, the today's hope has been you guys are targeting students basically from the underprivileged section of the society.
Mhm.
So how is this entire imparting education has been done? Because teaching children at this growing age is really difficult, because it is basically the seed sown that you will evolve their personality for the future. So how
Absolutely.
is this entire thing done?
Yeah. So, one of the things that we've managed to do is go into the slum areas, and I've delivered sessions on empowerment. I have delivered sessions on self-worth and self-belief. I also work with Happy Feet Home in Mumbai. Again, another organ. I know I fall in love a lot, but that was another organisation that work with young children that have thalassemia, AIDS, and HIV. So it's about palliative care. So again, sometimes in society, what we do is we dismiss people that have life-threatening illnesses and think, oh, but actually, why are we not making their life better? And why are we not educating them? Why are we not giving them goals and hopes to aim for? So there's a lot of work to do in terms of the education, but what my aim and hope is by delivering these sessions, I've been into government schools as well in Mumbai, is to empower children, because one thing that I think is really lacking is the amount of sex education we're giving our young children, be that, hitting puberty, be that the menstrual cycle. There's still a lot of work to do. And I think the lack of that has an impact on a lot of the crimes that we see and a lot of things that are, affecting Indian society. Example, mental health. So there is a lot of work to do, but hopefully slowly we will grow and grow. And by delivering these workshops, as I did at Shiro's home as well, in terms of post-traumatic stress, and mental health, I think, the schools have a big part to play in how India can grow in terms of helping other people.
Yes, I would definitely agree to this. Social awareness is something we are lacking into right now, and we need to work upon it. Also, ma'am, since you've studied about criminology and the criminal aspects, so I would want to ask you, it is a very, important question that I would want to ask you. Whenever a person commits a crime like such brutal crimes like acid attack, what is the entire psychology that goes into his mind? Because this is not a one-day process that happens just in the blink of an eye. It is an entire process that happens.
Yeah, of course. And in terms of acid attacks, there is a very big, 80% are female victims. And looking at that, we can link that to the patriarchal society that we have. And, though India is developing, there is still a lot of work for us to do with mental health with men. And also, depression. Men are not given an open forum to discuss their problems and issues. And again, going back to education, we are not empowering our men. Yes, we're talking about, okay, let's do this with the girls, let's ensure that they're not doing X, Y, and Z. But actually, what are we doing to educate the boys? What are we doing to, apart from, I hear a lot, we treat our mothers and our sisters and daughters a certain way. But then when it's an outside woman, there's still that kind of, disrespect might be a harsh word to use, but there is often that. So I think in terms of acid attacks, it is a very much so a power crime that is committed. A lot of the stories that we hear is, it's to remind the victim of what they did to the perpetrator, and it's a constant reminder if they have a burn or if they have some kind of scarring. But then it also goes back to actually, what are we teaching our women? That, beauty is the only thing you have, being a housewife, getting married. So it's about empowering men and women that actually your roles in society are not just in a box. There's much more to you. Like, look at all these amazing women at Shiro's. They're working, they have children, they're married, they found love. And, we need to think more about beauty just being our face. Our beauty is within. And I think, again, it's about the work we do with the men as well as the women about actually, this is not just your role. There's more to you. But it's definitely a power crime that is committed, most definitely.
Yeah, and quoting to that, I would like to say Maya Angelou once said, phenomenal women, all of us are phenomenal women. Phenomenally, we are phenomenal. That's what she said. She has an entire poem about this. And she clearly mentions that how your physical beauty is not the point, your entire mental beauty is what portrays you in the outside world. Also, ma'am, do you feel that the patriarchal society is one major reason why this entire thing is happening? A major reason, not, I would not say the entire reason, but
Yep.
one major reason.
Yes, absolutely. Again, that's one of the reasons I do the work that I do, because again, I think I'm repeating myself, but the lack of education in terms of what we are teaching our children and our young men, especially in India, in especially the villages, they don't know what it is to have a healthy relationship, to have a girl that is a friend, maybe, it's just all very sexualized. And, media has got a lot to answer for as well. When we see Bollywood movies, yes, there are some amazing films that educate us, but there's that stereotypical woman, there's the stereotypical, the man's going to save the woman, why is it not the woman saving the man? So it's about challenging all these things that we might see as minor, but actually we are setting and planting the seed for these young children. So it has to start with us. It has to start with the media. It has to start with education. And oh my God, the home. There's so many families that don't even talk, that, it's like talking about love or relationships or, our mental health. Or having, certain things that we may not understand, as a culture, in India, even in families in the UK, people need to talk, which is not happening.
Yeah, that is one major reason why mental issues are arousing so much, because people are not conversating, they're not talking, they're not letting people enter into their life. So yeah, also ma'am, it is the COVID conditions that is going on right now, and there is a lot of problem of depression, anxiety in the entire world. A lot of people are going through it. So what do you have to say, and what are the solutions to these problems?
Right. I'd be lying if I said I had all the solutions. However, there are things that we can do. I think, first of all, acceptance. I have lots of bite sizes that I've done and some other lives that I've done, so please do take a look at them on my page. But acceptance is such a big tool, and it will give you empowerment. When we accept what is going on around us and don't fight the changes, automatically that, oh my God, I have to wear a mask. Oh my God, how am I going to go? Oh my God, this social distancing now. Because what we do is we create worry and a problem when there might not actually be one. Let's change it around. Okay, I have to wear a mask to protect myself, my family, and my community. And then if you look at it, actually by doing that, you're actually saving lives. You're actually saving lives around the world, because as we know, this virus does not discriminate at all. So we need to have the acceptance and look at how is it that we can adapt these changes, because these changes are for our betterment. They're to make us safe, our family, our friends, I personally had loss within my family and friends from this horrendous virus, and for me, if I'm kind of told that actually if you do this, it will help somebody, I'm going to do it. And we need to embrace that, change is not always a bad thing. Yes, it's scary, and it can make us anxious. Yeah, but some anxiety is okay. It's acceptable to have some anxiety. But yeah, as I said, please do look on my page, because I do go into more detail as well, because I know time as well. So otherwise I'll go.
Yeah, also ma'am, one thing that you would like to tell to our survivors in the end, because they are also going through a very, very tough time because of the COVID-19 and everything that is going on across the globe.
Yes, again, having a skin condition myself and going through, I probably had 50 plus hundreds kind of procedures throughout my life. So for me as well, it brought back a lot of kind of the anxiety that I used to have in terms of being stuck at home, not going outside. And in terms of the survivors, first of all, you guys are all amazing. And secondly, I can understand how it can bring you back to that time where you were enclosed in a space where you weren't going out, and it can bring back some pretty traumatic experiences. So the advice that I would definitely give is journal writing is a really good way of getting your thoughts, your feelings out, and your worry. So writing, drawing, whatever that may be, to get your thoughts and feelings out is really, really important. Talk to somebody. You've just said that you've got this amazing helpline. You know, there are people that can support and help you. But in terms of your strength, look at your meditation. You know, be that art, be it music, be it journal writing, be it meditation. You know, sit, reflect. And also another thing that is really, really important is a routine. Stick to a routine like you would do, you know, I say normal, you know, it seems like such a long time ago that we were going to work and, you know, going to the pub or, you know, going to our normal way of life. But make sure that you're doing positive things, have positive conversations, limit the amount of news and, you know, such things that we're getting on social media. So just think about positives and talk to somebody and communicate. It's so important.
Yeah, and we shall definitely overcome this time. There are a few questions, ma'am, that I would want you to address.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a question by Ajit sir. Ash, we can plan and schedule a virtual event of awareness in Google Meet. What is your suggestion for that matter?
Sorry, I'm going to read that because your voice is going in and out. Scheduled virtual event for a bit. Yes, most definitely. At the end of the day, any awareness is good awareness, and you know, any projects that I can support on, I'm there. You know, I would love to kind of support and give our viewers, our family, I should say, you know, because we are all working to the same aim, and that is to empower and make this world a better place. So yeah, I'm game. We can do it.
Okay, yeah. Also, ma'am, we have a question from one of our survivor.
Sure.
Rani, ma'am. Hi, I'm Rani. How are you, ma'am? How is the situation in the country during coronavirus?
Hi. Here, the government lockdown is kind of easing at the moment. Yes, there has been, you know, a horrendous amount of lives that have been lost. Schools are still closed, but slowly we're allowed to kind of do some communicating now in terms of, you know, visiting households, but it's very limited. But things are slowly getting better.
Yes. Also, ma'am, Ritu ma'am has a question. Actually, it's a comment.
Yes.
She is remembering the time when you came to India to the Shiro's hangout.
Yes.
To the Shiro's home. Yes. So yeah, she's just telling you that we had a great time.
Oh, lovely. I miss her.
Education.
Sorry.
Yeah, is education play an important role in society? Give your opinion. This is a question by Vishal Sharma, if I'm not wrong. Yes.
Oh my God, yes. I think I've answered that before. Your education starts from home, most definitely, because at the end of the day, if you're not going to learn the basics at home, you will then go on to your school life still not knowing what the norms and values are. So when I talk about the norms and values, I'm talking about open expression. You know, sometimes a kid might say something and we say, no, aise baat nahi karte, chup karo. Actually, let the child express what they are feeling, what they are saying. Because what we do is we plant the seed that, no, you're wrong. No, you can't talk about this. And what that does is that affects the child at a very young age. And going on, when there's issues or concerns, they might not come back and talk to you. So firstly, education, I'm a big believer, starts at home, and then going on to our school life, you know, primary school, college, university. Yeah, definitely. And as I said, I really believe that more work needs to be done on two subjects, which is mental health and also sex education.
Yes. Also, ma'am, just now I asked about that peacock feather. So Alok sir is telling you that we have a lot of peacocks there at the Shiro's home. So next time you visit, Next time you visit hers, we'll definitely make sure that you meet some peacock.
Oh, that would be
Also,
amazing.
yeah. Also, with this, we love your Hindi accent. Can you give us a moment for that? Yes.
I knew that was gonna go. You know, I always start when I do my workshops in India. I always start by saying, I don't know whether you're gonna get anything, but I know that you're gonna laugh, because my workshops will start in Hindi, then slowly go into English, and then I'll end up in Punjabi. But Ajit, this is for you. My speaking is not great, you know that. But आपसे मिलकर बहुत खुशी होगी when I next come. So I look forward. हम सब मिलके काम करेंगे.
Yeah. Okay. With that note, I will also end in Hindi. It was nice hosting you today. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा आप इस platform पे आए. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we will make sure that you join us very soon, very quickly, as soon as the pandemic ends. So thank you, ma'am. And anything that you would like to end with? That you would want to say?
Yes, most definitely. First of all, please, 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 if you haven't already, do donate. You can donate directly to She Rose, or you can do it for To Raise Hope, because I know some of our UK listeners may be thinking, oh my God, how do I do that? We will make sure that you guys get all the funds. Stop laughing, Ajit. And just to end, I would just again like to say, please do what you can. जो भी हो सके हम मिलके कर सकते हैं. एंड अगर मैं यहाँ यूके से कर सकती हूँ, आपके पास कोई एक्सक्यूज नहीं है if you're in India. So please help and support the cause.
Yes, with that note, we have a link there in our bio. Please go contribute, spread the word, spread the awareness, and please keep your mental health as your first priority, because it is very important to keep that in place, to keep that in good sound condition. So thank you very much, ma'am. It was a pleasure having you today.
You too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye-bye.